I was saying, okay. I realized we haven't really established, so are we assuming that the audience, like, the audience has read JoJo's Bizarre Adventure? Like, or are we explaining this to people who are coming in blind?
Honestly, I hope for their sake they've watched already, because this is all in Japanese. And, like, any kind of reference we give them, any reference point we give them will be very biased.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like we've already talked about our opinions on things without saying or seeing what the fuck they are.
I haven't actually, like, it's been your opinion a lot, but I haven't actually said what I think of part 1.
That's true.
I think, like, I just kind of put it generally, I think it's overall very boring, with a few moments that are so utterly gobsmackingly fucking stupid that I appreciate them being there, but dislike them. I dislike part 1. Honestly, whenever I tell someone watch JoJo or like read JoJo, say like, don't feel bad about just going to part 2 and learning what happened in part 1. Or like, if you're gonna watch part 1, watch it with a friend and just don't expect much. There are people out there who legitimately like part 1. I don't know.
There are also people who legitimately think Jotaro's cool.
That's true. So this is stuff that skipped over in the anime, I guess.
I was gonna say, I don't remember this.
That slide looks rad as fuck.
Wait, they're doing this... Okay, the one thing I know that the manga had that the anime skipped, do we get, like, Danny saving Jonathon from fucking drowning?
Oh, I don't believe we do.
What?
This game came out, like, what was it, 6 years before the anime adaptation that we know, like... Okay, real JoJo talk, there was a part 1 OVA made, but it was apparently so terrible that it's just never been shown. Like, scant few traces of it are out there, and Speedwagon wasn't in it, so big reason why it's terrible.
Yeah. If they really wanted to make it, like, actually good, they should have just removed Jonathon.
Theo just moves into a mansion with an old man, and at some point Speedwagon just walks out from behind the curtains and accuses him of being a vampire.
Yeah, that would be good. That would be good.
It actually would be good.
Make him sort of a Van Helsing type character, yeah.
Just throws his hat. Wow, we're going deep into spoilers. Yeah, I guess I am assuming that people who are watching this know.
Yeah, like I think we retroactively need to put like a disclaimer. Like, honestly, we probably need a disclaimer at the part 1. Like, this is a playthrough for people who have watched JoJo. Otherwise, you're not gonna know what the fuck is going on. Either that, okay, Snake, here's an idea. We need to go back and record our own recap of everything that happens in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure from memory.
Oh, that's terrible. We'll get everything wrong. I just want to talk about the fucking spin-off novel where they introduce an entity more powerful.
Wait, are they making her eat mud? Is she vomiting?
No. You'll remember. So she's rubbing that on her face to just undo Dio's kiss.
Oh, Dio, that's right. Dio, like, mapped on her, and she's like, oh no, I've been tainted.
But it was me,
a poor person has kissed me, oh no.
Why is everything in this part about classism to you?
Because part 1 is so okay, you talked about Dio being an asshole, and okay, he kicks and then later kills Danny. Other than that, I disagree. I think Dio is generally represented relatively sympathetically. Everything apart from Danny hero. And this, he's relatively sympathetic until he becomes a vampire or whatever. Here's the plot of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 1, as I see it. So there's this old dude, this bourgeois fuck, gets in a carriage accident, and then some poor guy's like, holy shit, some rich guy crashed. I can finally crawl my way out of massive debt. And he tries to take some of the excess riches from these dead people. They don't fucking need it. And then this arrogant, supremely arrogant rich dude is apparently still alive and just assumes that this poor person is helping him, because why wouldn't someone try and help me, George spelt with a J Joestar?
No, I think he is G. I think he is
no,
George with
he's
a G,
not.
Joestar.
He's
no,
George with I looked it. I swear to God's sake, I'm looking it up right now.
But there's also George Joestar, dad of Joseph Joestar, who has that spin-off novel, or one half of it.
Wait, is that like...
Anyway, a fight is starting. This is my stomping grounds. So, this is the first fight in the game you're meant to win, which is rather fucking rude. To be quite honest with you, I was hoping I would need to win none of them. But, no, this game actually demands skill at this point, and, yeah, so, at this point, Jonathon's actually somewhat capable. Like, as capable as he can ever really be. I really do like the rendition of the Joestar mansion in this game as just looking fucking dilapidated and terrible.
It's like a dungeon.
Yeah. Like, this is the entrance hallway. This should look like... You'd think if anything would look well kept in a manner, it would be the first thing you fucking see.
Also, I really appreciate that you're like, this is the, like, most skilled or whatever Jonathon ever gets. This is before he's, like, even heard of Haman.
No, I'm saying as skillful as he could ever be. I think that applies throughout his life as he learns more skills, but just misapplies each of them.
True. I see your point, yeah.
Another thing about this game that adds to the terribleness is there is a time limit on every single fight you can time out. And by the way, you'd be surprised, but you can time out very easily, even with... The game defaults, I believe, to 300 seconds. Every fight has a 5-minute time limit, and that is strict. Because look at the damage I'm doing compared to the damage I take. I've landed more hits on him than he has me.
So, okay, how many fights would you say there are in this game? About
30.
That's not a long game. Like, if it's expecting your fights to be sub 5 minutes, it's either expecting you to fail a lot, or like, this is a short game. Not counting cutscene padding, I guess.
I'm not sure if I've left in a failure on this fight. I don't believe I have, but I'm gonna go explain the first lesson I learned, which actually becomes a lesson I had to unlearn before the game was over. But it got me through this fight, and that lesson is be aggressive. Don't strategize, don't play smart, just wail. Just wail on him!
Oh, so it's really teaching you to be Jonathon.
Yeah, exactly. This fight was like, I can't play clever, I will run out of time. I can't play clever, I can't afford to, like... Because it doesn't matter if I play clever, there are just some hits he will get on me. I'm just not good enough to, like, mitigate that, so just don't be smart. Get in there.
Was this game released full price, do you know?
I don't know. It honestly screams budget title to me. I wouldn't be surprised. It looks like, despite that, it also looks like a very high-effort game. Like, they voice-acted near enough an entire manga.
Yeah, they, like, and the textures and whatnot are all, like, the models are detailed and that sort of thing.
I can't... Alright, my run-ins with, like, Bandai now, as a kid, were, like, limited, but I don't think they're, like, a small company by any stretch.
Yeah.
It's just a legitimate laugh at how they're trying to render this series. The wimpiest punches.
Oh, that's right. I never finished describing the plot of part 1 so far. So like this like wealthy bourgeois fuck is like, oh, obviously this person's trying to help me, a wealthy noble, because why would? And he's like, thank you. I'll give you 1 IOU. Take that. So then this dude, who's like a bitter, drunken, like, oh, but he's like, whatever, sure, fine. I won't just murder this guy and take his stuff. And then he holds on to that IOU, and he's like, I'll use it with my son, and like, here, Dio, you've always been an asshole, but you're, like, actually smart, unlike everyone else in our family and my life. So here, cash in this IOU, go be raised as a rich person, because I'm about to fucking die. And then his son Dio, who's like a prodigy, is winning chess games for meals in the local pub. He's like
getting his face pushed into his meals.
Yeah, and has been abused his whole life by like everyone. Is like, whatever, and goes to live with these wealthy fucks. And he meets Jonathon Joestar, the most stupid, privileged, useless human being anyone has ever encountered.
I'm going to say that, he made a bad first impression by kicking a dog.
Sure, but like, what, he's come from a lifetime of abuse, and he meets someone the worst thing he's ever experienced is being mildly chastised for, like, like having bad table manners or whatever. Fucking... That's not true. He's gotten himself in fights before, I suppose, in all fairness.
Yeah,
it doesn't come across that way, though.
People.
He hasn't learned any lessons from the fights he's been in.
Here's the thing, like, besides what you're saying, Dio is just evil. Like, that is the interpreter. That is just the way, he is a fucking awful human being.
No, but that's
then he's put next to someone who just makes you root for someone who will gladly kill human beings.
But at this point, Dio's not even shown to be evil, not until he kicks Danny. That's the first, evil thing he does. Sure, he's kind of an asshole before, but, who wouldn't be with his life background? He's also shown to be plucky, resourceful, mature, humble, willing to bide his time, is just struggling to get by, has a lot of pride despite how brutal life has been to him, partially because of how hard life has been. And then he meets, someone who's had everything handed to him, is unbelievably entitled, is unbelievably arrogant, and he's like, no, fuck this guy. And, a dog springs at him, and he's like, whoa, what the fuck? And kicks the dog, because,
He got that off of, 2 seconds of Jonathon saying, hey, do you want to help me with your bags?
Yeah, I mean,
you're just jumping a bit there to just retroactively put shit on Jonathon.
But, okay, so sure, again, he's standoffish, he doesn't trust these rich bourgeois fucks, He doesn't, and he's proven completely right. Jonathon exceeds his expectations for what these bourgeois motherfuckers are gonna be like. He's like, holy shit, this guy's stupid and entitled. And just grows to increasingly resent him, and decides, no, I'm gonna, be better at this rich asshole than everything. I'm gonna be the favorite son. I'm gonna be the smartest, I'm gonna be the most well-mannered, the most well-disciplined, I'm gonna be the one who has a big successful career, I'm gonna be the star. I'm gonna make this kid look like the piece of shit he is. I'm gonna make everyone recognize that he's a useless fuck. And
you are
then
saying this over footage of Dio poisoning the dad right now.
Again, the dad's also kind of an asshole.
Oh my god! You're sweeping a lot of Dio's transgressions under the rug. Yeah, but he's a bit of a shit. Just he's poisoning him as we speak. Just your hatred of Jonathon runs that team. Yeah, but what's one case of poisoning? Get him to go to Ogre Street and get stabbed.
Oh, I mean, I don't know, I'm just saying. But
I'm just saying.
We're in, the second episode by now. But up until, the fight before this, apart from kicking Dio, I was I was against Jonathon. I was with Dio on all this stuff. The perspective on that hand was the worst I've ever seen, by the way. Wait, what? I forget. How does he, what's going on now? What prompts this?
So, after that fight with Jonathon and Dio, some of Dio's blood splashes onto the mask, and of course it causes the spikes to jut out. So, I guess at that point, Jonathon's life course was decided because he goes on to become an archaeologist. I believe it was archaeology he studied.
Wait, so he's just he accidentally spills some blood and is like, oh shit, that's cool? And
No, that was Dio's blood during the fight, and now he's pricking his finger to put blood on it to see reactions.
Okay, so but he saw Dio's blood get on, and he's like, oh shit, that's cool, and wants to try it himself. I don't remember this from the anime at all. That was something I do not remember how the mask got involved.
Yeah, it was just like in the fight. It was during that fight we saw a moment ago with Jonathon and Dio. It was the fallout of that. Blood getting on it, the spikes jutting out and causing it to fall to the floor. And we, as of yet, don't know the significance of this mask, but hoo boy, will we. There's some people get involved. There are people the world over who are fucking up as we speak because of this mask.
Oh yeah, very much so.
Like, oh my god, this part could have been solved before it even began if some people did some smarter shit. Let's just say that. But, oh my goodness, there's so much.
Again, so by this point, I would say Dio and Jonathon, like, it could go either way on who's, like, the protagonist. Both have problems as a protagonist.
Well, yes. One is that one character is thoroughly unsympathetic, and the other is Dio.
Yeah. Like, I guess that's the thing. No, that's the thing. Dio is sympathetic, but also evil, and Jonathon's just neither. He's not evil, but he just lacks any reason to feel bad for him, or to root for him, or be on his side, or not want him to suffer.
It's like, he's just set up, like, you're meant to sympathize with this guy, but he is just this jumpy ass. Here's the thing, we're kind of like looking at it through the lens of we've already been here, but he hasn't even displayed his full potential yet.
No, yeah. And I think that's the thing. Part of the reason I was bored at this point in part 1 is because I thought Jonathon, I still, for obvious reasons, assumed that, like, this would be going somewhere, you know? I thought Jonathon would have a character arc where he would learn the errors of his ways and improve himself, like, you know, 99% of fictional media. We'll get into that. And, I don't know, I guess I thought they were going somewhere with, by most metrics, Dio being the much more sympathetic character who has a sympathetic early life and backstory. But no, here's the plot of this part 1, like, summed up. There's a wealthy family of aristocrats, like, old money, blue blood, and then George Joestar, in his naivete, invites a poor person into the household, who decides to raise him as one of their own, and this poor person is given the resources of the elite, of the wealthy upper crust. And it goes terribly for everyone. Poor people should never be given this sort of power. There's a reason we keep the money in the hands of the responsible aristocrats and away from all the riffraff. This is what happens when you give a poor person money.
And meanwhile, like, Jonathon's character arc that he's trying to set up for himself is he wants to be a gentleman. He wants to, like, it's kind of established, like, in an early scene with, like, table manners, where, like, Dio's got good table manners, and Jonathon's spilling his wine and fucking everything up, and he's like, and he begrudges that Dio is just, like, he, like, looks at Dio with bitterness. But, like, the thing is, like, could have been more severe, is like, oh, I could learn something from this guy. But that's not, like, the immediate implication there. It's just like, fuck it. I'm just gonna be a gentleman. And really all he learns is to pick up a sword and stab problems. And breathe.
Yeah, that's a good point. Jonathon talks a lot about, like, nobility and whatnot. He never learns any, like, gentlemanly skills after, like, from this point onward.
He just claims to be gentlemanly as, like, because he's got a stiff upper lip as shit goes terribly wrong.
Okay, no, I think that's Jonathon. Go ahead.
It's more just that he lets problems that he's causing or wrapped up in just kind of wash off his back.
Yeah, I think the thing is, Jonathon doesn't so much, like, learn to be better or act better or anything like that. He just, like, grows more confident that what he's doing is the right thing.
I thought you were just going to end that with, he doesn't really improve or get better or learn, he just gets buffer.
That's true, too. But in all fairness, he starts pretty insanely buff for someone who's supposed to be a wimp. Like,
yeah,
he starts buff and just, like, turns into Kenshiro.
So, how did you enjoy that fight that we had in the lobby at the beginning of this part? Because how about Battle 4? The same character's a bit older, but we start on the balcony instead.
Wait, so have they been to college at this point?
Yes, they've graduated, they've been rugby players. Okay, it's not the exact same map, there's a statue, it just looks exactly the fucking same. This whole manor is apparently the most depressing place known to man.
Here's a detail for the audience that I adore. So these two children of the House of Joestar went to college, and Dio became a fucking lawyer. Like this, he passed a bar exam. He could like represent himself in court. Like he did something that's like a career famous for how much hard work and intelligence it takes to get into it. Jonathon became a fucking archaeologist. Like, ask a fucking 6-year-old what they want to be in one of, like, 5 careers they'll list. Like, he didn't even become a paleontologist.
I was just about to say he should have gone for dinosaurs.
Like, no, he just like, oh, I'm gonna dig up fucking vases and shit. Vases. He's British, that's how you guys say it, right?
Yeah, vases, yeah. Yeah. Oh, look at that ranking! I think that's the only fight I'm gonna S-rank in this whole playthrough. That was me learning my lesson of don't think, just punch.
That's such a Jojo lesson to learn, though. Like, that's really something Jonathon would learn, that's something Jotaro would intrinsically know, because Jotaro can't learn anything, he has to already know everything. Oh, is this Jonathon fucking up massively and starting the plot here? Is this what I remember?
He's gonna... Now Dio's gonna run away all bitter and sad with the mask, and he's gonna try and use it, and things are gonna kick off.
Okay, no, I think this is... Wait, is Danny dead yet?
Yes. It kind of glosses over it in this weird, adaptation. Yeah. Like, we've been talking a lot, but I think it just kind of... I think that just kind of happens. Danny's
so
just
going
kind of
on the slide with Erina, that's important enough to get adapted into a cutscene in this game, but not like the event that like, oh no, Dio really is evil and not just mean to me, Jonathon.
Wow, this interpretation of events does make Dio look a lot better. He just kicked Danny. But, you know, throwing him in a furnace, a fucking awful way to go. That's fine.
I think, cause that's the moment where, like, oh no, Dio's just, like, unnecessarily cruel in general. He's not just, like, mean to Jonathon. You know, that's, like, sort of... I guess there's poisoning the dad, but that's just, you know, like, a responsible financial decision.
You gotta get that inheritance somehow.
Yeah, you know, like...
How am I gonna start up my law office if I don't have money?
Exactly. I mean, wouldn't you? Like, come on, let's be real.
I don't have a law office or a degree.
Imagine Dio Brando as a character in Better Call Saul.
I'm just trying to picture like a Phoenix Wright spin-off.
We never got to my joke again.
Oh my god, that's 2 parts.